Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Embodiment, the Feel of Meaning. It is part of our monthly Neuro-Semantics series. We also have series on self-leadership, the meta coaching system, and parenting. So this is one of the sessions that we do under the auspices of the Institute of Neuro-Semantics, Malaysia. And I know that maybe there are some of you who are here for the first time, and there are also others who have been here before. And especially for those who have joined in these sessions before, you may notice some change or oddness with respect to this recording. The reason why I am doing this recording is that when we had this session on the embodiment, the feel of meaning, we started off the session so cheerfully that I forgot to record the first part of the discussion. And I thought that if I were to just post it without that bit, then those of you who are watching this recording, you may not be aware of what has transpired. And because of that, I'm taking the time to re-record this part, the introduction part, so that you can have a context of what is to come. So with that, I would just like to introduce myself to you. I'm Mazuki. I'm a Neuro-Semantics trainer and meta coach. I represent Malaysia in the international leadership team of the International Society of Neuro-Semantics. I help people like you to systematically develop skills in leading, communicating, and coaching to bring out the best in yourself and others. By actualizing that, you can experience an exceptional quality of life filled with happiness, creativity, and fulfillment. In the sessions that we have between 60 to 90 minutes together, we'll be discussing on embodying, the neurology of meaning making, then embodying the creation of emotions, the state and embodiment and grounding of meaning. So those are the major topics that we'll be discussing this evening. And as usual, I will pause for discussion after each main point in order to invite questions, comments, and contributions. And it is through the questions and discussion that we had after the first point that I was reminded about recording the session. So that's how I discovered that I did not record the first part. And as a usual reminder that my style is to be light and humorous. So if I laugh or smile, I'm never laughing at you, but at our silly human qualities. My purpose is to lighten up things, reduce being serious, and be more real. As a quick introduction of why we are here, what we are here for, meaning sounds like a strictly cognitive phenomenon, yet it is not. In us humans, meaning is embodied. It is an embodied experience that holistically involves our entire mind-body system. At the very same time, meaning is both cognitive and affective. So a couple of questions that we posed earlier in order for us to get our frame of mind about the discussion for this evening is that the first question is there a feel to meaning? The feel of any particular meaning depends on the state it evokes in a person. Typically, a joyful meaning elicits joy. A fearful meaning elicits fear. A meaning of sacred specialness elicits a feeling of spirituality. The second question is, what does meaning feel like? You and I feel our meanings as emotions. That is what an emotion is. So a few questions before we jump into the topic for this evening is that what meanings have you embodied? How well are those meanings serving you? What meanings do you need to release and deframe and get out of your body? What meanings will you now have that will increase the quality of your life? So let's get cracking with the first point that I missed to record. So this is the first point for you, that is embodying, the neurology of meaning making. We are looking into how the meaning making comes in through our neurology. When it comes to meaning making, because you make meaning within and by your neurology. Neurology here refers to your nervous system, the brain stem, and all of those. So meaning is inevitably neurological. I'll repeat that. Meaning is inevitably neurological. Given the kind of nervous system that you have, you first create meaning in your body, having sense receptors all over your body, picking up energy signals from the world. You are actively picking up energy signals from the world. Light and sound vibrations constantly impinge upon your body. Billions of stimuli impact you, but your eyes, ears, and skin can only receive a very small amount of each stimuli. This begins the creation of your neuro-semantic reality. Impinging stimuli is not enough. It has to register with you. You have to register it. And that's what the nervous responsiveness of your skin sense receptors, neural pathways, nervous systems do. They register and record the impact of the billions of stimuli constantly impacting you. As light and sound waves, pressure of touch, smells, and tastes are then transduced from their external form, your nervous system transforms that data and converts it into another form of energy. What begins as the electromagnetic spectrum of energy manifestations ends up as bioelectrical current and neurochemical transfer of the signal within your neural pathways. This is the field and dimension of neurology. And this is the area that Korzybski brought to our attention. Now, what makes neurology important in mind is the fact that it orders, structures, and patterns what you experience as information. Your nerves and nervous impulses comprise your hardware, so to speak. You experience the energy manifestations out there in terms of your senses, that is vibrations, movements, and bodily energies. The stimulations out there are mechanical impacts that you abstract inside your body and experience as tactile sensations, such as pressure, rhythm, movement, and so on. You experience mechanical vibrations of the sound of the air as sound. Sound is basically the vibration of air. You experience the vibratory manifestations of electromagnetic waves as light. You register only a small amount. So this first point that I bring to our discussion is how whatever meaning that we are making in the next step it starts off in the neurology. So meaning making is embodied in the neurology, in our neurology. So this is bringing us to our next points onto how we make meaning from there. So I hope that this introduction will make it more wholesome for you to continue watching the recording of this session in the next piece. So with that, I hope you'll enjoy the session. I'll press record now. Okay, thank you for saying that. Okay. Okay, so let me just move on to the next point. Would that be okay with everyone? So what I just want to, I would say, summarize to what we have discussed is that yes, we create meaning through our cognitive process. However, because our mind body is one system, that meaning goes into our neurology, and that is how that meaning making gets into our being, into our body. Yeah. So let's move to the next point that I would just like to share with you. Let me just share screen here. Right. So in this point, embodying, to bring it into the body, the creation of emotions. The feel of meaning inevitably shows up as emotions in your body. So this is how we experience emotion. We create meanings and then we begin to feel those meanings. Emotions are secondary to meaning because they are derived from meaning. Meaning is primary. In fact, until you know what something means, you won't know what to feel. I gave you the example of a child seeing a snake. At the moment, when I give the example, I can visualize how my nephew at about, I think it was about 3 or 4 years old, a snake entering the house. He was just looking at the snake, and because people have been talking about how snakes look like, he was just enthralled at the snake. Oh, snake, snake, snake. But because he did not have that meaning that the snake is venomous and can be dangerous. So if you don't know what it is, what it leads to, what it causes, how you evaluate it, the value you endow it with, and so on, you won't know what to feel. Now, in speaking about emotions, I'm not speaking about sensations or feelings. Sensations or feelings are kinesthetics, sensations which you experience in your body. And while they certainly are a facet of an emotion, they are not emotions. Breathing hard, eyes dilating, hands sweating, heart pounding, adrenal glands secreting. These are sensations, feelings, and kinesthetics. From these same feelings, numerous emotions emerge. Anger, fear, excitement, or lust. The determining factor if these sensations contribute to any one of those 4 emotions depends on your thoughts by which you create your emotions. If you evaluate your situation as one of threat, danger, or challenge, the emotion could be fear or anger. And that depends upon your learning history, as well as your current evaluation as to whether you can handle it or not. Anger, if you can handle it; fear, if you cannot. Anger moves you towards the source of threat. Fear moves you away from it. If your thoughts create within you a mental context of desire, if the desire is sexual, then you experience lust. If it is a general desire for something that you highly value, then excitement. Notice that the feelings are the same. The meanings, since they are different, then you experience different emotion. If it is one of threat or danger and you feel you can handle it, then it becomes anger. If you feel you cannot handle it, the meaning is that you cannot handle it, then it becomes fear. If it creates sexual arousal, then it is lust. If it is a general excitement, then it is excitement. The sensations are the same. And as you will later discover, the additional layers of meanings that you give to any one of these emotional states will layer additional textures and quality to the emotion that you experience. So how do you feel about your meanings? You feel them in your body. So how do you feel your meanings? You feel them in your body as you somatize your meanings. You bring your meanings into your body. You somatize your meanings. Then you feel it in your body and transform them into what we call emotions. So the feel of meaning inevitably shows up as emotions in your body. So whatever emotion you experience, whatever emotional state you access and experience, your emotion is a function of your meanings. That explains why you can learn to detect, monitor, and manage your emotions by detecting, monitoring, and managing your meanings. Your emotional responses is a symptom of your meanings. You can now use your emotions as symptomatic indicators or expressions that tell you what something must mean to you. And if you have a problem with an emotion, the problem is not really with the emotion, it is with the meaning that's generating that emotion, and probably with the meaning you give to that experience. In Neuro-Semantics, we define an emotion as the difference between your mental model and your experience in the world. On one side of the scale is the mental world and inner game of meanings that you give to things, the meanings of what something is, how it works, what you expect, and so on. So that's the mental model. Over against that is your actual experience in the world, how you are actually acting and experiencing the territory that your map describes. If the map and experience of the territory balance out so that they are about the same, so that what you thought, expected, and understood is happening in how you are coping, then there's not a lot of emotion or energy there. Yeah? And I give this example whereby you take a drive to work. Typically, it takes you an hour to get to work. So you expect that you are going to take an hour to get to work. And then when you drive that morning, it took an hour for you to get to work. So no emotion. There is no energy because your mental model, your expectation is the same as what you experience. But if your experience in the world is not living up to your mental mapping of that world, then the scales tip downward on the territory side and generate what we call the negative emotions. The negative emotions invalidate your map and or your coping and move you to stop, look, and listen and make changes. Something is not right somewhere and something needs to change. So you experience something which is different and which is less favorable than what you expect. So that's when you experience what we call as negative emotion. If, however, you experience in the world, your experience in the world seems to be working, what you mapped out and expect and understand is coming through, so that the way you are coping with things is working, then the scale tips upward and you experience what we call positive emotions: joy, happiness, love, contentment, passion, compassion, tenderness, appreciation. These are what you experience. The emotions that we call the positive emotions validate your map and your coping, and so encourages you to continue. So you have this mental model that if you were to do this and this to your partner will be happy with the effort that you put in. And then when you actually do that, and you notice that your partner is happy with that, then that's when you experience that joy, that happiness, that love. So what we are looking over here is that your emotion is a function of your meanings. So this is the second point that we are bringing for our discussion. The first point earlier was how we create meanings, and those meanings become our mental model of the world. And when we experience the world outside there, and our experience of the world is not the same or better than or worse than our mental model of the world, then we emote. Then we have those emotions coming in because our meanings bring in judgment or evaluation of that situation. Okay, so let me open that up for discussion. So go ahead. Any comments for anyone?
It's okay. Christian, how does your mental model came about?
I'm sorry, I can't quite hear you.
How does your mental model came about?
Sorry again.
The line is broken.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. No, my question is, how does your mental model came about?
How does our mental model come about? Is through our meaning making. So earlier we talked about meaning making.
So earlier you mentioned that your meaning came about or arises from the type of mental model you have in your mind. So if the mental model and your experience matches, or rather your experience is positive, then you create a positive emotion. So my question is, how does a mental model come about? Isn't it mental model is created through experience?
Yes, it does. It is created through experience.
And then now you say mental model arises through experience. And then the experience, through the experience, you get a positive emotion.
Through the experience and the meaning making. It is not the experience itself that creates the mental model. It is the meaning making.
Meaning making.
Yeah.
Okay. Then it leads to the emotion. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you. Right.
Yeah. That answers your question.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mazuki,
Yes.
yeah, if I can just, don't know whether I'm going to help you or I'm going to make it more confusing. What if I put in linear form again? Emotion is basically at the end of the experience, like you said. Okay, the meaning is the experience, the meaning. At the end of the experience is where the emotions are created, and emotions are basically proteins in the body. And when you have memories, it triggers the emotion. Now, depending where your energy level is, in addition to the experience that you have that you mentioned to Siti Fu, depending where is your energy level. So I use the Maslow hierarchy of needs. If the energy is up to the self and including self-esteem, you are basically what we call in survival mode. And likely you feel guilty, you feel jealous, you feel angry, you feel you want to compete with your neighbor or your another company and so on. If the energy level is above the body, above the bottom part of the body, because the bottom part is basically the lust, the sexual, the stomach, and the pancreas. If it is on the top part, then you're in the creative mode, meaning that joy, happiness, love. So the vibration from the body is different at different level, and the information will give a different meaning at different level. In addition to the experience, you also need the energy of your body, which Mazuki said earlier could be the state of your body, the state you're in. So the meaning is different depending whether you're in the survival mode, I call it, or you are in the creative mode. So creative here means more towards self-actualization. If I use Maslow, below that is all survival. That's how I describe it.
Okay.
So emotion is basically energy in motion.
Yes.
Energy in motion. So if you want to change, you need the emotion. From the current state to another state, you need the emotion. I don't know whether I help you, I confuse you.
Yeah. There is no contradiction. What you have mentioned, what you are doing is you are adding another dimension to the description. So thank you for that.
Yeah. So the mental model in simple term is experience plus the energy. That's how I look at it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Your body energy, not the information energy. Your body energy.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why we have different meanings, different emotions we experience during puasa and after puasa.
Correct.
Right.
So just to show you, I'm going to show you all the book. This page, can you see it?
Now you can see a little bit, yes.
Yeah, this is the vibration that I was trying to explain to Dennis. Different part, it vibrates, and you can see the frequency is different, the waves, if you can look at it. So I use it a lot to understand the thing. And this is another good book, that this one. Oops.
The developing mind.
By Dr. Siegel. This is what I said earlier, mind equals to energy plus information, this book.
So just go latching onto that one, that the quality of our meanings impact the our emotions. So that is why people who are not yet mature in their thinking processes. When I say mature, I'm referring to their developmental stages. So they are immature as a child. A child may be in life having this either or thinking, black and white thinking. They have not learned about both and thinking. So experiencing a disappointment, the child gets upset, gets angry, gets sad about that. However, a person who is more mature in the thinking processes, that doesn't look at the situation as either or, is both and continuum. Similar situation, they are able to create more resourceful meaning, more enhancing meaning, and as a result, may not experience such emotions of anger or sadness about the outcome of certain situations. So that is why the emergent properties of the mind is comes from the neurosemantic processes in the body as well. So that is why the neurosemantic faculty of a person also has an influence in the quality and energy of the processing of the mind. So that is why some people have the capacity to use their mind much bigger, much wider, and yet some people may not have that. So a good example is for you to be able to see how the mind of a child works and the mind of a more mature adults work. And when I talk about mature person, I'm referring to their developmental stages. I'm not referring to age, because some people, they grow old but they don't really mature. So that's another story to come in. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah. Right. So let's move to our next couple of points. Two other points that I would like to bring. This next point is about emotions as the embodiment of meaning. Whenever I see words like embodiment, I automatically translate it into a verb. So emotion as the meaning getting into the body. Yeah. So as you create meaning, it is not only intellectual or cognitive, it is neurological as well. It involves your physiology. It is behavioral, emotional, and somatic. And the first and inevitable embodiment of your meanings occurs in your emotions. The importance of this is that by embodying your meanings, then your meanings form and govern your physiology and embodied experiences. This enables the meanings to become real and authentic in actuality, and not merely in thought and conception. So once your meanings, so that's why when we notice people who are speaking their minds and they are emoting the emotions that are coming from their words, you can see that it is felt by that person, and you say that that person is totally congruent, because the meanings that they are speaking out are the meanings that they have, and they feel that in their body, as opposed to somebody who is regurgitating meaning, and it is not the meanings that they have, but they are just saying those meanings, and you can notice that their body is not exuding that meaning. And so you notice there is that gap between what they say and their non-verbal over there. So meanings are the embodiment. Emotions are the embodiment of meaning. Okay? So, and the final point that I would like to bring for this evening is that this refers to state. State refers to our mental and emotional state. State is an embodiment and grounding of meaning. Yeah. Given that you embody meaning and feel them in your emotions, and emotional state embodies and grounds your meaning. State is what makes your meanings real in yourself, in your body, and therefore, yeah, because the meaning goes into your body, and you feel that, and because of that feeling, that emotion that drives your action and takes you into the world, into what you actually do in the world. So a state is the actualization of the meanings that you create at all levels of the mind. So state is when your meanings now becomes actual. Actual means to say that they come out into the real world through your speech and your behavior. So that's what we are referring to as state, an embodiment and grounding of meaning. Okay, so let me just stop there. These two final points that I brought in. One is that emotion as the embodiment of the meaning, and state is the embodiment and grounding of the meaning. Grounding meaning to say now you are bringing those emotions, the meanings through your emotions, now you are bringing it into the physical reality. So that is why in Neuro-Semantics, we focus on the four central powers, because through these central powers, we are manifesting ourselves in this world through our powers of thinking and feeling, creating those resourceful meanings in ourselves, creating those meanings and feeling those meanings in our body, creating the state that gives us the energy. And where does the energy go? Through our speech and our behavior. When that is congruent, our inner game, our thinking and feeling is congruent with our outer game, that is when we are in the state of flow. We are actualizing our highest meaning into our best performances. So this is where when we look at meaning, how meanings are created, how they impact our emotions, we want to be able to quality control those meaning making processes, because that will create the empowering meanings, enhance emotions, and ground us in that state, that mental and emotional state, for us to be able to be effective in our words and behaviors. Okay, so let me just stop there. I'd like to invite questions or comments from anyone. So go ahead. Amy, I haven't heard from you all evening.
Hi, listening and digesting. Thank you.
Right. So anyone has got any questions or comments? No questions, comments?
I think I might go to Dr. Amin to do like a revisit this topic, because it's like, yeah, the last two is quite a
No,
yeah.
I hope I'm not going to confuse you, Yati. In simple term, what Mazuki said, the last two, if I may say, earlier what we said, the mind and body are two different components, and those two are in a system, chicken and egg.
Yep.
Okay, and what I said, the mind and the body are connected through the brain. That's what I said earlier. And mind is body in action. That's what I said. So the meaning is always in the body. When I say body, I mean in the brain as well as the body. So the thinking and the feeling gives you the meaning. Both of them.
Yeah.
So meaning is not in the mind, it's in the body. Emotion is also in the body, it's not in the mind. So the mind is embodied to you, as well as the mind is relational, meaning that the mind can transfer or travel to someone that you're close with. And that gives you the ability to read a person's mind. Why is she so moody tonight? You can read it. So the mind is embodied. So what I said earlier, emotion is the end of the experience, and therefore it is residing in your body. It's part of your memory system. And where is it residing? Not necessarily in the brain. It's all over. In the muscle, in the nervous system, it's all over.
Yep.
So that is how I look at it. As long as you understand from the mind, the next one is the body.
Yeah.
So the mind is only like clouds floating over your head, and it passes there. You have basically 1 thought per second. So if you don't catch the thought, the next one will come in. So the moment you take the thoughts, it has to go through your thinking process and through your body feeling. So at the end of the day, it's your body that you have to handle. So that's why I'm very much interested in the subject, the flow, FLOW. And I spend a lot of time looking at it, and it is interesting. But setback is, how do we communicate it as simple as possible so that people understand?
Can.
It's a complex subject. It's not. I mean, yeah. I understand Mazuki because I went through Neuro-Semantics, and I read a lot as well, but it's not easy. There's a challenge that we have. Just like meaning, you know, how do you make it as simple as possible?
Yeah.
The mental model, how do you make it as simple as possible? Information.
Yeah.
So it's quite abstract at the moment.
Okay.
It's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, just one question. So it's always the mind that influences the body more. Could it be the other reverse situation, that the body that we deliberately put it into action could influence the backflow, influence back the mind?
That's why in Neuro-Semantics we say mind-body system. It's one system. I can't remember the word to use, but these are mind, body are just verbal splits. Verbal splits meaning to say we use 2 words to describe one system. We use the word mind, we use the word body to describe this system. It is one system. So it is not to say the mind first or the body first. It works in, they impact one another. Yeah. When I say that, a couple of years ago, I had a bad case of shingles, and my body was in pain. Now, there is such thing as mind over matter. However, when the pain is in the body and it is humming at a very consistent, great consistency, then pain is continuous, is chronic, coming in. I was at a point whereby I was struggling to keep my mind clear. Even though that I know that I can control my mind, but my body is part of the same system. So that is where what we are saying is that yes, there are situations whereby you can use your mind to impact your body, and there are situations whereby you use your body to impact the mind because they are one and the same system. Yeah. Another example is going out in the morning for your exercise, going out for your walk or for your run. Sometimes, I don't know about you, but there are times that I don't feel like going. It's just that I put on my pants, put on my shirt, lace my shoes. However, the moment I step out of the house, I feel like going. So that's how we use our body to impact our mind, and also we use our mind to impact our body. So that's why in neurosemantics we call it, there are two royal roads to state. How we can impact our state through the mind and through the body, because they are one system. Does that make sense?
Okay, makes sense.
Have you ever had that situation whereby you made a decision but your body is unwilling?
Yeah, the thinking and doing thing. A lot.
Since you said the thinking and doing, there are three steps basically: thinking, doing, and being. Being is a state. Thinking, doing, being. Being is a state that Mazuki was explaining from Neuro-Semantics. So I call it the state of being, your state at that time, which is your mind, body, and emotions.
Yeah.
So thinking, doing, and being. So if you want to change your being, you got to change the way you think and the way you do.
And that part of being involves the concept that you have about yourself. So that's the what we mentioned earlier, the neuro-semantic system.
Oh my God.
Whereby when you want to create those meanings, understandings, beliefs about yourself, about your being, that is also impacted by the meanings that are already in your neurology. So that's why when we talk about wanting to create change in our lives, then that change has got to go through the whole process of re-evaluating the meanings that are already embodied in yourself. So it is not just about cognitive process, but it is both cognitive and neurological in the body. Make sense?
Yeah, CT4, the mind affects the body affects the mind. Like Mazuki said, it goes both ways.
Thank you.
So coming into the final few minutes of our session this evening, what is your learning takeaway from this session? Yeah, for me, the biggest takeaway as I research this subject to share with you this evening, is that meaning isn't just a cognitive phenomenon. It originates as a neurological phenomenon, and even as higher levels of your cortex articulates meaning cognitively, it then sends it back down into the body as muscle memory and action readiness. So meaning is both in the mind and in the body. So that's why we use the term neuro-semantics, semantics, and in the neurology. Yeah. So let me invite each and every one of you. So what is your takeaway for this evening? Let me start off at the bottom of my screen. Sitifu, go ahead. What's your takeaway for this evening?
Yeah, thank Thank you, Mazuki. So basically, I find it very complicated. It's such a simple thing, like having a meaning out of something. To me, it's just simple like that. But now you have gone into the science of it, talking about neuro-cognitive, the mind, the state of being, so many things. So, I mean, to me, I lead a very simple life. To me, if I can understand and I have meaning in it, that's it. I'm not a scientist, so I don't go into so detail. But today is to me, it's a shift in my mind now, in terms of understanding the neurosemantics of all these complicated matters. Okay, thank you. I learned something.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Next, I'll invite Florence. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mazuki. My thoughts, my takeaway is that learning about this meaning and the neurological system and how meaning connects to emotion and the relationship meaning with emotions and states makes me think that because this is the science part, so I think by understanding the science part, it would help me to better serve my clients, my coaching clients, to be more effective in coaching my clients. I think you have started a subject which really got me in, very interested and enthusiastic to learn more. And thanks also to Amin, who has been so kind to add on his thoughts about this subject. So I've already searched out the book you just mentioned. What's the title? The Developing Mind by Daniel J. Siegel. I managed to get the full book in PDF. So I think I will use it also as a reference for me to get into the deeper part of understanding what Mazuki has shared with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Florence. Thank you. Appreciate that. Next, Amy, go ahead.
Hi, good evening. It keeps playing in my mind that it's mind over matter, mind over body. The thoughts that I have, and I make it, I want to make it come true. I need to work. I mean, I get it into my mind and make my determination. And like you say, put on the boots, put on your running shoes and go do it. So using the physical and then using the mind, the strength of the mind and the body to get going, doing things. Actually, recently, a couple of months ago, the doctor tested my blood sugar is very, very high. I refuse to go on medication. Okay, so using the strength of mind over, my love of nasi lemak and all that. So I had to cut down to 0 sugar, and it can be done. I've already halved that number, and it's better than medication. So I really love what you're sharing today. Thank you, Mazuki. It works. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. And also thank you, Florence, for sharing the file. Next, I'd like to invite Yati. Go ahead, Yati. What's your takeaway for this evening?
Takeaway? Oh my God, it's a lot. So many things I not down. The best is like whatever energy that come into our mind. I mean, like the container, like the Florence say just now, it actually created the emotion, which is and also it drives to the reality. I mean that that's how we react. And also without having this knowledge, I might not able to control my emotion. I might be like hot-tempered, or maybe get angry so easily. Yeah, that's my takeaway from this session. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Yati. And Dr. Amin, go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Mazuki, and those that ask questions as well. But you're touching a subject that I'm very much interested in. And I've been researching on this. And I do learn few things from you as well, like the meaning, the embodiment, all that. I find it very interesting. But you touched a subject that I'm very much interested on. Because I was searching for the last 20 years. So thank you, Mazuki.
Thank you very much for that, Dr. Amin. I hope that this evening's session is useful, but based upon what you have given your feedback at several levels, in the sense that probably for somebody like Dr. Amin, you have been researching it. This would be quite at a very basic level. However, the approach that I brought is to give some neuroscientific explanation of how we create those meanings and we bring that into our body as emotions and states. So I hope that I was able to do that. If I have made you confused, so I apologize for that. That means what that means is that I need to get my my understanding much stronger. So with that, thank you very much, everyone. I hope to see all of you again in the next session, whichever that appeals to you. You are most welcome to join in the next sessions.
So can I say something?
Sorry?
Can I say something?
Yes, go ahead, Dr. Amin.
For those of you that are listening to Mazuki tonight, I just want to share with you, I'm an engineer, like Mazuki probably, and I found that once you understand human, then your life is very interesting. And to understand human, Neuro-Semantics is part of it, but it's good enough, NLP, Neuro-Semantics. But once you understand human, you find it very interesting.
Yeah.
So that's why I spend a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Mazuki.
Thank you, everyone. And have a good night, everyone. And may you be safe. Thank you.
Yeah, thank
good
you.
Night.
Bye. Bye.
Good night. Assalamualaikum. Good night.
Night.